And we're back. Excellent. Finding a great connection there. So we do like the idea of that. So, Alexa, tell us exactly what you're up to and what you do and where you are.
Well, at the moment, I'm in the middle of Beaconsfield High Street, so we walked here to get a bit of a better phone signal to connect with you. So I'm sorry if it's a bit noisy, but they're in the middle of setting up for the Festival of Lights, which is going on tonight, which is a great big event that we have here in Beaconsfield every year. So I've been out and about talking to people, trying to do some last-minute leafleting. I don't have the big teams that some of the other candidates do. So, but that said, whereas in the centre of Beaconsfield, people seem to think, oh, why is she standing? Labour. Who knows anything about Labour here? But actually, in 2017, we came second to Dominic Grieve. We had a 10% swing in our favour. We doubled our vote. It was the best Labour result here since 1974. So I'm not quite sure why various people in their social media bubbles think that Labour doesn't have a voice here, because there are people in this constituency who really need a Labour voice.
I'm giving you a voice.
Just a few hundred yards down the road is one of our churches here, one of a number of churches that actually run a food bank in Beaconsfield, and we've got another food bank in Marlow. And we've got people using these. We've got pockets of deprivation throughout this constituency, and these people need a Labour voice to support them.
Sorry, I do seem to hear that coming up quite a lot in the hustings about the food banks and how bad it really is out there. And you're saying in a place that's got quite a lot of money, Beaconsfield, they're saying that it's got food banks as well.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying Beaconsfield's got quite a lot of money. Beaconsfield is one of the richest constituencies, if not the richest constituency in the UK. And we have a food bank in Beaconsfield. We have another one in Marlow. We have the people in Burnham use the food bank in Sydenham, which is only about a mile from them, but is actually sort of in the Slough constituency. In Ivor, they're accessing food banks in Slough as well. There are pockets of deprivation here that, because of the widening divides in our society between rich and poor, this is being overlooked. And, food banks are run by charity. So we've got people in Beaconsfield relying on charity to feed their children tonight. It's a ridiculous state of affairs that I would never thought I would see somewhere like this. But unfortunately, things have gone too far, and we need to end poverty. And lots of these people are working, and they're working more than one job. We have in-work poverty in the UK. I have areas in this constituency where 1 in 4 children are growing up in poverty, and it's literally gone too far. And we need a Labour voice to stand up and work for these people.
I can understand what you're saying. That's an interesting side. I mean, so from a Labour point of view, you're saying that you can end food banks.
We are committed to ending food banks. Currently, there are more food banks in the UK than there are outlets of McDonald's. I mean, that is the most disgusting statistic I think I've heard during this election. I don't understand how the 5th richest country in the world, who is quite happy to brag about how rich they are, has people relying on food banks to feed their children. It's an absolutely disgusting state of affairs. And so the Labour Party are committed to ending in-work poverty, ending poverty altogether, eradicating the use of food banks, because this type of thing has to end. We will properly fund public services, we will properly fund our NHS, and we will properly fund a national education service. Access to education in the Buckinghamshire area isn't equal. We still operate this outdated 11 plus, where some kids are more equal than other kids. And unfortunately, in those same areas of deprivation throughout Buckinghamshire, I can map those pockets to the worst educational outcomes in the country, not in the county, but in the country. There are people here who are overlooked. I'm sorry, I've got a big lorry going past, so you might not be able to hear me for a minute. I will shout. Live broadcasting, the difficulties of that. But yes, so this is an unequal society. This is an unequal constituency. And we need a Labour voice to try and rebalance the divides, the social fracturing that has gone on here, and to bring us back together.
Okay, so Dominic's got a massive majority, and I think it was in the last election, or it's about 65%, I think it was. So he's now sitting as an independent. So why? He's obviously not going with the Conservative.
What do I think about that? What do I think about that? Yeah, I mean, he did have a massive majority, and as I say, we took 10% off him in the last election. We moved our vote share to 21%. So whilst everyone is they're kind of quite patronising to me, actually. They're like, oh, you know, bless her for having a go. But 21% of the vote share and taking 10% off Dominic Grieve was quite a significant move, and that was far in excess of the national swing the last time. And we did that by targeting voters who are disenfranchised, who generally don't vote because they feel that their vote is not heard. You know, I'm sick of the idea of what people will say to you around here is pin a blue rosette on it and it will win. And that's not the way it is anymore. People are more intelligent than that. They are thinking a lot wider. And I think that you will see a really interesting result here. Obviously, Dominic has run a campaign as an independent. The Conservatives are running the same campaign they normally do. They have their new candidate, Joy Morrissey. She doesn't live in the area. She's from Ealing. She's a bit of an unknown, so I don't know how that's going to go down with the voters here. But you're in a completely 50-50 Leave Remain constituency as far as Brexit goes. The Brexiteers will tell you that it was a massive majority for Leave, but it really wasn't. And if you count this constituency referendum result by the South Bucks area that counted the votes, it very marginally, 50 point something, voted to Leave. If you count it by the actual parliamentary constituency, which involves Marlow and Blackwell and a couple of other areas, it very marginally voted to Remain. Now, that's absolutely 50-50 down to the wire. So you can't really say that the constituency is one way or the other. So I think a lot of the Remain vote may well move to Dominic. Tories are looking at a hard Brexit position. I mean, this is really a very strange situation from my point of view. I think it has to go back to a people's vote. We have to give people the final say. But I'm absolutely opposed to the current withdrawal agreement. It's worse than Theresa May's deal. It's worse than anything that you could possibly imagine. The Labour Party will put together a far more sensible deal that actually isn't going to lose us 100,000 jobs in the southeast or something like that. It will protect jobs. It will protect the economy. It will keep us within a customs union and closely aligned to the single market. And we will offer that agreement back to the people within 6 months with an option to remain for a final say. And whatever that is, do you know what? Whilst I'm a Remainer at heart, I've been absolutely exercised about this because of the concept of democracy. If they vote to leave, do you know what? We're going to leave. That's the deal. But we're going to leave on a deal that actually protects the economy.
But that's already been done.
Sorry, I didn't hear you.
Sorry, that's already been done. We've already had the vote and we voted to leave. But obviously, if Labour gets in, they're going to obviously go for another vote. And you're saying if
we did have a vote to leave.
Yeah.
We did have a vote to leave. And the problem is that the last 2 years has been an absolute debacle. You've got no clear majority in Parliament. You've got no great sort of consensus of the people. I mean, there's people saying, oh, it's anti-democratic to have another vote. Well, I don't know. We have council elections every 4 years. I mean, we're 3.5 years since that last election. I mean, things change, times change, views change. We also have a huge amount more information now than we had then. There have been lies told from the outset. I mean, where is that £350 million a week on a bus? There's so many people voted for that because they thought they were saving the NHS. That's what they thought they were voting for. I'm not saying that people didn't know what they're voting for. I'm finding loads of people that are still very, very vehement to vote to leave. and that's fine. And I do support going back to the people's vote within 6 months. And as I say, that would bring it to almost 4 years. That's our normal electoral cycle. What's the matter? What's anti-democratic about revisiting after 4 years?
It's an interesting way to look at it. Give you that. I'm sure we'll get a few comments once this feed obviously gets more traction.
Oh, I get a lot of comments on many things.
Do have a look at the FBL broadcast and please do comment on the Facebook channel, and we will put it on YouTube. But I usually give people 2 minutes doorstep challenge. I think I might start calling it. So if I give you 2 minutes from about now, exactly what you would say to somebody if you turn up at their doorstep and they gave you literally 2 minutes. So sell us what you're selling in the Beaconsfield area.
What's interesting is that when I knock on doors, and I knock on very different doors to the other candidates, is the first thing I ask them is if they vote. And quite often what they tell me is they don't vote because they think they can't make a difference. And what I tell them is you can make a difference. You can vote for real change that will actually affect our daily lives, that will improve the services, the public services that we rely on every day, that will properly fund and save our NHS. The Labour Party are the only party that will do that will develop a national education service that will actually give us fair and good schools for everyone, that will actually look at ending poverty and a huge house building programme that will address the housing crisis. These are all things that we so desperately need. These affect our lives every day, and we need real change, and we need it now.
That was less than 2 minutes. Well done. So you went about that.
I don't hang about.
You don't, do you? I can tell that from the hustings as well. So you did talk a little bit about housing. So obviously Beaconsfield is quite expensive in that area, I believe. I'm not too sure. So.
Beaconsfield is incredibly expensive. It's incredibly expensive, the housing here. I mean, we also have an issue with a local plan that is attempting to release swathes of greenbelt for the building of houses. But the type of houses they're going to build are not going to solve the housing crisis. You know, more 4 or 5 bedroomed houses in Beaconsfield for stockbroker belt commuters to come in and out of London. This is not solving the housing crisis, and it's not a justifiable release of greenbelt. There's only 10% of the UK that actually sits within the greenbelt. But when you look at this area right here, South Bucks, 80% of South Bucks is within the greenbelt. And it seems quite ludicrous to me that the council are threatening to, they're not threatening to, they've put together a plan to try and deliver on the housing targets that they've been set. And the only way they feel they can do it is by building in the greenbelt. But within 6 months of this election, we're actually working towards a total local government reorganisation here in Bucks. We're going to have a unitary authority. So all the district councils and the county council are going to disappear. And the shape of Bucks will be different. So we would suddenly be, the council, the new Buckinghamshire Council, unitary authority, will have new targets placed against it. Obviously, they'll look at the existing plans that are in place and how people are looking to tackle those. But the shape of the authority will be different geographically, and huge amounts of that area are not in the greenbelt. So you can look, I think they should stop the current processing of the local plan, which South Bucks appear to be trying to push through. They're trying to get it heard by the Planning Inspectorate and the Secretary of State. They're trying to fast track that. I think, no, don't fast track it, delay that. And push it back until we have the new unitary authority in place here, so that we can evaluate with the actual shape of the county and the needs of people whilst protecting the greenbelt as well. And then if there is need to build in the greenbelt, the only way you can release greenbelt is if the need is justifiable. There are rules around this. It was the Labour Party who brought in the whole concept of greenbelt back in 1947, and it is so important to stop this urban sprawl and this constant London-centric development of everything that we have, whether it's housing, jobs, economy. We need to think about these things differently, and I think we'll have a chance to after that new authority, the new unitary authority, is in place.
Very interesting. You obviously really looked into this. You really seem
I'm
to.
local. I live here. You know, I'm involved in this kind of stuff. You know, I chair Bucks Labour Forum, which goes across 5 constituencies. So I look at the issues around the county, not just in my one constituency, but also in Wickham and in Ellesmere Vale and in Chesham and Amersham. You know, and Buckingham. I look at all these. I study them. I do research into this stuff, and it matters to me. I've lived. I've Buckinghamshire all my life. I mean, I've places as well, but I've returned after living there to bring up my own daughter here. It's a lovely place. I love it.
Well, I thank you for all your hard work and especially all the knowledge you've just provided there. I wish we could have longer, but I wish you all luck for tomorrow.
Oh,
Keep us updated.
thanks
And
very much. I
thank
will
you very
do.
much. Thank you very much for calling in, as they say.
Thank you for
Okay,
listening.
bye-bye.
Thank you very much. Bye bye.